Hi, welcome to another Gentle Yoga Flow with Dan as part of the JCC online mindfulness and mind-body program. If you've been joining me as we've been going through these online sessions, welcome back. Hope you've been enjoying them. And if you're new, welcome, and feel free to ask any questions via the JCC Facebook page that may come up as you're going through the practice. Today's practice we're going to be mostly on the mat, kind of a little more restorative than hard work. Going to give the body a nice overall stretching out, and just hopefully you'll feel nice and relaxed at the end of this. As usual, if you have a block or a book or a blanket or something you can sit on to raise your hips, that comes in very handy. We'll use that a few different ways during the practice. If you have a strap handy, that's great. If you don't have a strap, no big deal. So don't worry about it. And sometimes it's nice to have a blanket that you can fold up and sit on in addition to a block. It's up to you. Just sort of handy things to have around as we go in and out of poses. So let's get started today. We're going to start as we typically do in a seated position. I'm sitting on a block. Maybe you can sit on a pillow or blankets, anything that lifts you up a little bit. Let your hips be higher than your knees, or even with your knees. Sometimes without a block, we end up and our knees are sitting here and it's hard to stay comfortably seated in that position. So, as we come into the pose, I like to have my feet crossed this way. Some people are going to be this way. It's really up to you. You can sit any comfortable way that works for you. And we'll start out with coming into a nice seated position. Close your eyes. And as you're seated, feel your sitting bones. You can rock back and forth a little bit. You can feel those bones right at the bottom of your pelvis. And press those into whatever you're seated on, whether that's a block or on the floor, blanket, doesn't matter. So press those down and lift up, really starting from right below your belly button. Lift up right there as you're pressing your sitting bones down. And you'll feel a lift. You sort of feel the whole body lift up a little bit out of the hips. You might even feel the knees are pressing down towards the floor as you lift up. And you'll feel the lift all the way up through the front body. You can feel it coming up the back of your spine, and feel the lift coming up through the top of your head. So your body's nice and straight. And then bring your attention to your breath. Now you're seated in a nice straight seated position. Bring your attention now to your breath. And just notice that maybe before this, your breathing, you weren't really conscious of your breathing. You're just sitting there, you're breathing because we breathe without thinking all the time. And now we're going to switch to a more conscious breath where we're really thinking about inhaling and exhaling. And as you do that, you can start to sort of bring that attention to the breath by taking an inhale through your nose and just counting maybe 1, 2, 3 as you're inhaling. And then exhale through your mouth or your nose, whichever you're more comfortable with. And see if you can exhale really at the same length as that inhale. And as we sit and breathe here, we're going to be looking to develop a nice steady breath where our inhale and exhale are the same length. And maybe as you sit here and as you breathe, you can start to lengthen the inhale so that our breath starts to become a little longer, a little deeper. And as we inhale, we feel a lift starting all the way down at the base of our pelvis, coming all the way up, reaching through the crown of the head. And then as we exhale, but we keep pressing down and maintaining as much lift as we can. Letting the breath be nice and steady and even. Allowing the air to just come in and out of the body. Start to allow yourself to feel the additional oxygen that you're generating and bringing in and out of the body on your breaths. Bring your palms together at your heart center. And bring an intention to your practice today, whatever that might be. Maybe it's to go for a walk with your dog later, or go see your mother, or visit with a friend, whatever that intention is, whatever it is you want to do, something, whatever that is, just bring that in, bring it into your heart, acknowledge it. And then gently lower your hands back to your thighs. And gently open your eyes. And you can move your legs a little bit, come out of your seated position, and come onto your hands and knees. And for some people, they have a blanket, you know, sometimes it can be hard on your knees. So you'd come onto a blanket like this, have your knees on the blanket, but you want your hands on the mat. If your hands are on a blanket too, it's just a little bit harder. The hands don't get the same level of response from the floor, right? And so a little bit better just to be this way. You can have you want your hips over your knee, your shoulder is over your wrist. Spread your fingers wide. And just for a moment here, just as you're in there, you're on your hands and knees, just notice that you can rotate your elbows around, right? And as you do that, you want to think about that rotation, that inward rotation. So your elbows are spinning inward, right? And your biceps, this muscle, are spinning forward. And on your inhale, you want to think about rotating those arms, rotating those elbows inward as you inhale and reach forward, arching the back, pressing the chest down and through the gateway of your arms. And then as you exhale, maintain that action in your arms. As you exhale, dropping the head, pressing the hands into the mat, letting the head drop. And then you're going to inhale again, coming forward, pressing the chest down and through, spinning the elbows in, exhaling. Keep rotating the arms inward as you press up towards the ceiling with the back body. So we don't want these elbows to be spinning out as we exhale. We want to keep those arms fully engaged. And go through 3 more rounds of breath here on your own. Inhaling and exhaling. Keep pressing really from right around your belly button up towards the ceiling. Engaging those muscles below in the lower abdomen. And at the end of the last exhale, come back to a flat back. And then from here, we're going to do some side openings. So with the left hand fixed, we're going to inhale, open to the right, bringing the arm up, letting our gaze go up towards the ceiling, keeping our body rotating around our spine, and then exhaling, bringing the arm behind the left arm, bringing the right arm behind the left, reaching through as far as you can, keeping the arm up off the mat. And then inhale back up again. And exhale through. Inhale up. Exhale through. 2 more. Inhale up. Exhale through. Inhale up. And this time as you exhale through, bring the arm down to the mat. Reach with the left arm a little bit forward, bringing the side of the head to the mat. So take a couple breaths here, allowing the right arm to lie across the mat. Keeping your body steady with your left hand. And then inhaling, come on back up and back to a hands and knees, flat back. And then we'll do the side opening to the other side. So this time the right hand is planted. You're going to inhale, open to the left, letting the left arm reach up, letting the gaze go up as far as we can. Exhale, bringing the left arm behind the right, reaching through, rotating as far as you can. Inhale back up. Exhale through. Inhale up. Exhale through. Inhale up. Exhale through. Last one. Inhale. Exhale, reach through, let the left arm come down to the floor, walk the right arm forward a little bit, bringing the side of the left hip to the mat. Again, letting the breath be steady. One more breath. And then press up on the inhale, come back to all fours, onto your hands and knees. And again, you can keep this blanket if you want. For me, for the next pose, I find having the blanket a little bit of a challenge, so I'm going to move the blanket out of the way. And you feel perfectly free to keep the blanket exactly where it was. We're going to do bird dog pose. So we start in our hands and knees position, shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. And we'll start by reaching back with our right leg. And we start with our leg because we really want to focus on getting our hips right. So we want this right leg as high as possible, but we don't want to open up. Right? We don't want our hips to look like that. We want our low back to be flat. So we're lifting this and we're trying to keep us flat back. And then we can reach with the left hand forward. Steady breath. And again, remember we were talking about those abdomen muscles below the belly button, right? Those are the muscles that are going to stabilize you in this pose. Feel those engage. Reach with the fingertips. Keep that back leg nice and high and straight. Steady breath. One more breath. And then bring the hand back and lower the knee. Shake out the wrists a little bit. Okay? So this time, we reach the left leg back. All right, and we want to get nice and steady here. So bring this leg as high as we can. All right, we want to pay attention if our hips are floating one way or the other. We want to get our hips as level as we can. Toes point down if you can. And then reach with the right hand, reaching with the right fingertips. And again, engaging those abdomen muscles to bring steadiness and stillness into this pose. Breathing nice and even. Using the abdomen as your point of balance and steadiness. One more breath. And then bring the hand back to the mat, bring the knee back to the mat. Spread your knees wide and come to child's pose. And for this first child's pose, it's really good to have a blanket, you can use your hands, but we want our hips back as far as we can. So sometimes when we go into child's pose, bring our head down to the floor, our hips come up. We want to keep our hips back. So start this way, up so your butt's as far back towards your heels as you can, and then come down and maybe use a block for your forehead. Right, so your hips are as far back as you can really get them here. And take a moment, allow your breath to settle in here. Letting the breath become nice and steady. Maybe it's breathing hard over a little exertion we did, whatever. You're in child's pose, you can relax. And then from here, you're going to move the block out of the way. Reach your hands forward as far as you can. Come on up onto your knees, curl your toes under, and come back to down dog. So first down dog of the day. Sort of start by finding your position, maybe walking your legs out a little bit. Notice, try and get your feet parallel, toes pointing straight. You can bend your knees a little bit. And then make sure your fingers are spread. The elbow action we did down here in all fours is the same action as in down dog. So in the down dog, we want to be rotating those arms and pressing back. All right? In our down dog, press with the hands, lift the hips up and back, and then try pressing the heels towards the floor. It's really more of an action than an end goal that you have to reach, right? You're just pressing, finding some opening across the hamstrings, calves, side body. And then in, take the right leg, inhale it up. And then on an exhale, you're going to step all the way through to a low lunge. Come on up, bring your palms together, and have your back toes curled under here for a moment. So we come to our low lunge, knees over our ankle. Belly button is lifting up. We're lifting up out of our hips, pressing our palms together, and then bring your elbows together, or any amount you can. Inhale, lift your elbows up, up, up. And then from here, bring your whole body forward. Press your arms forward, bring the chest forward, uncurl those back toes. And then come on right back up into the low lunge. Toes point straight back. Inhale the arms up. Steady breath. Press with your feet, both the front foot and the back foot, into the mat to lift up a little higher. Open the side arms, side body. Let the gaze start to go up between your hands. Maybe bring your palms together and press into the hands with energy. And then bring your hands back to your heart center. Bring your hands back to the mat. Curl your back toes. Press back to down dog. Take a couple rounds of breath here. And then bring the left foot up and back as high as you can. And then as you exhale, step it all the way through. Coming into your low lunge on the other side. Back toes curled under, palms together. Bring the elbows together. And again, steady breath. Inhale, lift the elbows. Nice steady breathing. And then bring your weight forward, bring your arms forward, bring your chest forward. Uncurl those back toes so you can point your toes back behind you, straight behind you. And then inhale the arms up, reach with the hands. Press with the feet, lift up with, well, when you press your feet into the mat, lift up through the hips, through the side body. Let your gaze go up to the ceiling. Press the palms together with energy. Bring your hands back to your heart center. Hands to the mat. Curl the toes. Press back to down dog. Steady breath. I'm going to do 5 rounds of breath here. And then on the next breath, inhale, come to plank. Steady breath, nice strong plank. Pressing the hands. Pressing the heels back, reaching with the crown of the head. Exhale, back to down dog. We're going to do that one more time. And really, at any point, if you're tired, our next pose is child pose. So just knowing that, right, you can come to child's pose at any point. And again, come back to plank. Steady breath. Press the heels back, reach with the crown of the head. Engage that low abdomen. Press with the hands. 2 more breaths. And exhale, back to down dog. And then here we're going to take 5 nice long breaths, and then we'll go to child's pose. So you may be tired, you may be ready for child's pose. If you want to stay through the whole 5 breaths, that's good too. Listen to your body, listen to what your body wants. One more breath. And then spread the knees wide, come to the floor. Bring your hips back to your heels and come to child's pose. And let your arms come back by your sides. And just notice in this child's pose, not asking you to use a block. You're probably a little more stretched out now. Have a little more flexibility, you probably can get a little deeper into your child's pose than you could during the first one. But certainly, if you feel like you want a block, use a block. Either one. You know, part of yoga is listening to our bodies, watching and listening, seeing and hearing what is going on, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what do you feel like you want to do more of? What do you want to do less of? Really help listen to what the body's telling you as it's going through these poses. And then gently come on up And we will come into Virasana. So I'm going to turn and face this way. So Virasana is this pose where we sit back on our heels. It's really helpful to use a block or something to sit on. You can use a blanket folded up as well. That works just fine. Right? You can sit back like that. So any combination of these. If you're comfortable in the pose and you don't need anything to support your butt, that's great too. I like a little support, so sit like that. And we will bring our attention and focus coming out of some strong poses and bring our palms together at our heart center. And take a moment and breathe. Lift up from our belly button, nice and tall. Breathe. Let the breath become nice and steady and even again. You can let your hands come back to your thighs. Just going to take another moment or two to breathe here. And then come on up, come off whatever you're sitting on, if you're sitting on something. And then we're going to come to a seated position. And what I'm going to do, I think it might be easiest for you to see me this way. Take a block or a blanket. I'll demonstrate with a blanket. Here's my blanket folded up. I'm going to bring it here. There we go. And I'm going to walk my butt close to the blanket, have my hands back behind me, and then I'm going to bring my feet into Baddha Konasana. So that's this pose with your feet pressing together. So my feet are up a little bit. I've got my hands behind me, my fingers pointing back. And you might notice, like even here, right, that action that we did on the floor is that rotation of those elbows inward, right, is still happening, right? I'm rotating in order to get into this position. I have to externally rotate and press my hands, rotate my elbows inward towards my middle body. And I've got my feet on this blanket lifted up, which is taking a lot of pressure off my legs. So I can really be in this pose for a little bit and allow my these interior thigh muscles and groin muscles to open up a little bit. So I can keep inching my way as I get a little bit more open. Right? I can create a little more space by walking my hands in. Right? What we want to make sure is our chest is up, our back is straight. So we don't want to be curled up like this. That's why our hands are back. So we want to make sure our chest is up, lifted, our back is straight, breath is steady. Take a couple more rounds of breath here, and then the next pose we're going to do is going to be the same pose, but we're going to take the blanket away. So we bring our legs off the blanket, and we can remove the blanket here, and then we bring our feet back together and pull our heels in towards our groin as much as we can. And then I'm going to give you a couple choices here. It depends a little bit on kind of where you are in this pose. So one nice thing could be take your blanket, put it behind you. You sit up on the edge of it. It gives you a little height. And then you bring your feet together. And the nice thing about that is it may help you come forward with your back straight. So it gives you your hips an opportunity to bend, right? And so now, in this case, I can press my belly button forward and come forward into this pose. However, if I don't have that blanket, it's, I can still do it, but it's a lot harder for me. And so another way to approach it, if you're not going to go on the blanket, bring your hands behind you, okay, like we were before. Inch forward, as bringing our feet in as close as possible. Press with our palms, keep our chest lifted, and we can stay in this pose. Right? Either, however you want to get in the pose, right? This is up to you, what your body's really going to prefer. I'm going to demonstrate it sitting on the blanket. Right? So I'm on the edge. I'm not too far back on the blanket. By sitting on the edge, it gives me a little bit of opportunity to come forward. So I bring my feet in, and I'm going to inhale, lift up, come into a nice straight back. And then each inhale, as I inhale, I'm going to lift up, and then as I exhale, I'm going to bend at the waist a little bit, pressing my belly button forward, bringing my chest forward. Maybe I can bring my fingertips to the mat. In each inhale, I'm going to lift and reach forward. Each exhale, I'm going to walk my fingertips, press my chest a little bit, keep my head up. I'll do about 10 breaths here, so about halfway in. Sometimes people like to grab their feet and turn the feet out a little bit. It brings a little more sensation to the inner thighs. That's fine too. You can even inhale your arms up a little bit and reach forward. Finding a little more extension and reach and opening that way. 2 more breaths. And then release, come on up, and extend the legs out straight. And again, I would say it would be great to do this pose on the edge of a blanket. You can grab a strap if you have one. I'll start by doing the pose without the strap. So sitting on the edge, and even if you're on the floor, it doesn't matter. You're going to sit up nice and tall. The blanket just gives a little bit more room for you to move in this pose. But we're going to start out, our legs are straight out in front of us, our feet are flexed. And have your fingertips on the mat. And just notice what it feels like to pull your feet, pull your toes towards you. And even think about pulling your outer toes, your baby toes. What does it feel like to pull those baby toes back towards you, right? And feel them pulling, and as you pull those toes back, you're going to feel the muscles of the outer legs engage. You're going to press the ball of the foot forward. So it's really the action we're looking for on the floor without having to press the feet in the floor. All right, so we're up, sitting up nice and tall. Take a big inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to walk our hands forward, keeping our belly button, keeping our back straight, keeping our belly button moving forward. So we're not sucking in our belly and hunching. We're lifting and pressing, right? So you're going to get to whatever your limit is, right? And you might be able to reach forward and grab your toes and be a happy camper. That's where the strap comes in. You might want to grab the strap, right? That way you can sit up nice and tall, and then pull the strap, pull your body down, walk your fingers down the strap. Nice long breath here. Breathing nice and steady. Keep the feet engaged. One more breath. And then gently let go of the strap. Take the strap off and release. And then I'm going to turn this way to the next pose. You can stay where you are. This is a wide-legged pose. And it's also useful to do this on the edge of a blanket. It just can help a lot. And then we spread our legs as wide as we can. And sit up nice and tall. Flex our feet. Pull our toes towards us. This is also a pose where you can use the trick of having your arms out to your side. Excuse me. Sorry, you can bring your hands out behind you. Rotate them. So your hands are rotating in opposite directions to open the chest. Press the chest forward. Right? So this can be a very useful way to use your hands in this pose. And then as you inhale, you lift up. As you exhale, you press the belly button forward. Flex the feet, bring the chest forward. Maybe walk your hands a little bit further forward. You can do the same thing with your hands here. All right? You can keep walking your fingers a little bit wider. Maybe you just try and inch open your legs. You can see how little, I don't have a lot of flexibility in this direction. So this is a very difficult pose for me to do, but try and make myself do it sometimes because there's a reason why I don't like it, and my body probably needs it. So, we're in this pose. We're just walking our chest forward a little bit. Each inhale. Take a couple more breaths. Walk our hands back towards the center, letting our body start to come back to center. And then you grab the left leg with your left hand. You can grab some part of your left leg. Some people could reach their foot. I'm not quite there. I'm going to bring our right arm up over our body, and we're going to bend to the left as we sort of try and bring that right arm over and across to the left foot. In some other body, you might grab that foot, not this body. But this does feel good. And then come back to center. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. And then grab the right leg. And then bring the left arm up overhead. And again, reaching with the left hand over the body, cross down towards the right foot, imagining that you could grab it. It's hard for me to imagine, but I know people do it. So there, everybody's a little bit different. Couple more breaths. And then back to center. And then to come out of this pose, it's easy to grab your thighs with each hand and gently sort of bring the feet back together into our Baddha Konasana one more time. Sit up nice and tall. Take a couple breaths. And then gently release. And for this next pose, I like to use a blanket. So again, we'll use the folded blanket, but for this pose, I'm going to sit on this corner right here of the blanket. So I've turned it, and then I can sit right on the corner. There's the corner. And this is useful because for this next pose, Janu Shirshasana, sorry, we bring our right foot to press into the opposite leg thigh. And at some level, we're trying to really pull this knee way back. So there's, you're trying to bring this in, and then this left leg is out straight, and where is our strap? Strap is here. Okay. So, start here. Sit up nice and tall. Take a big inhale. And then this time as you exhale, before you go anywhere forward, we're going to rotate a little bit to the left. So, if I align my chest naturally and come forward, my chest is going to come next to my leg. So my goal here is I'm twisting a little bit to the left so that when I come forward, my chest is actually going to come down towards my kneecap. So there's a little bit of a twist in this pose as well as a forward bend. So I like to bring my hands on each side of the leg, take an inhale. As you exhale, twist to the left a little bit and then start to come forward. Walking the hands any amount you can, coming forward. And then from here, you can grab a belt. You can put the belt around your foot and come forward this way. It's going to be a very nice stretch. Do it this way. You can also, another nice way to do it is to grab some part of the leg, opposite leg with the right hand, put the left hand back behind you, and then press, sort of using the left hand for leverage and the grip on your leg. You can press into the twist a little bit and press down, right? And that can be a pretty nice feeling as well. Just giving you options. You might be comfortable just staying upright in this pose and pressing forward too. That's perfectly all right as well. We're trying to get here is a combination of this twist and forward fold, keeping this leg engaged, pressing the chest forward. All those actions. And then relax, come back up, switch the legs. So you can extend the right leg out straight. Bring the left leg in. So left foot's pressing into the right inner thigh. Hands to each side of the leg. Inhale, lift up. As you exhale, rotate to the left, to the right, and then come forward, bringing the chest down over the leg, keeping the foot flexed. And then choose your mechanism. You can continue to keep with both hands here. You can grab with the left leg and bring the right hand behind you, or use the belt and reach forward and leverage that way. Really, whatever one feels best for you, doesn't matter. They're all going to be good. Maybe you don't have a strap. If you don't have the strap, this is a great way to go. Take a couple more breaths. And then gently, gently release. Come back up. Bring the leg in. And then we're going to come onto our back here. And lie back, bring your knees into your chest. And then our last pose before Shavasana is going to be Happy Baby. So we're going to reach through our knees, grab the outside of our feet. If you can't grab your feet, you can do this with a strap. Just going to grab it like this. Pull your feet down. If you can grab your feet, be here. Rock back and forth a little bit, gently. Just massaging the back a bit. And then take an inhale. And on that inhale, press your feet up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, pull with your right hand, pull your right foot down, bending the knee a little bit, pressing the knee down towards the armpit. And then inhale, press the legs both back up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, you're going to pull the left foot down, pressing that knee down towards the floor, down towards your armpit. And then inhale back up. And other side, exhale. Inhale up. Exhale left side. Press down. Inhale up. 4 more breaths on your own. Back and forth. And then gently grab the knees, rock back and forth. And then lower the legs down. Extend the legs out straight. Bring your arms to your side for Shavasana. Let your breath start to unwind a little bit here. So you're lying on your back. If you want a blanket on you, maybe you want a blanket for your head. Sometimes that feels good. Some people like to put a blanket here. Blanket over your belly is a very popular place. It sort of warms the whole insides. Feels good, secure, whatever. So you lie back on your mat, feeling the mat, feeling gravity pulling you down to the mat. Start to let go of any steady breath. Letting that breath start to wind down so that you're moving away from consciously thinking about breathing into a unconscious breath. Allowing the body to start to melt down into the floor, feeling gravity, holding it down. Letting the effects of the practice start to work their way through your toes and feet, into your ankles and legs, up the body, through the center of the body, through your fingers and arms, all the way up through the chest, into the head. Bringing a smile to your face, maybe. Softening the cheeks and the eyes. Settling in for a few minutes of Shavasana. Begin to bring a little motion back into the body. Moving the fingers and toes a bit. Maybe moving your mouth and jaw. We'll keep the eyes closed. Bend your knees and roll onto your right side at your own pace. Slowly making your way over. Pausing there for a couple rounds of breath. And eventually making your way back to a comfortable seated position. Keeping the eyes closed, sitting up nice and tall. We have come full circle. We bring our palms together at our heart center. We take a moment here, we acknowledge the intention that we started our practice with, whatever that was. Take a moment and bring a sense of love and gratitude into your heart. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me for this Gentle Yoga Flow today. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, feel free to message me on the JCC Facebook page if you have any comments, questions, thoughts, etc. Always happy to hear from people. And I hope you have a good holiday, and we'll see you again in a couple weeks. Be well.